Check this.
Hey Jigs, what's going on? Instant Champs here, and today we are talking about the new Call of Duty World War II patch notes. And this is a really big update, perhaps the biggest the Call of Duty franchise has ever seen. It's part of a major Resistance DLC update.
The first thing we noticed in this patch was that quickscoping in World War II is now harder than it's ever been before. There were two snipers impacted by this patch, being the Kar 98 and the M1903. This patch affected these snipers by reducing ADS time, which also causes a slower aim-in time. By doing this, quickscoping has effectively been nerfed.
My personal opinion, as a player that does not primarily use snipers, I find this new patch to be effective and well thought out, because with the old way of how sniper ADS used to work, I found that in many gun battles, even after I had the first shot, I could still get quickscoped and there was nothing to do about it. There was no way around it. So I think with this new update, it allows a more even playing field for a variety of players, and it allows you to progress in better gunfights. So guys, as we move right along this patch update, we can see that in the rifles section, they have a lot of updates that have gone into this new patch with buffed base ADS transition times, but not ADS from sprint times. So actually it's ADS sprint out times, which they placed in an effort to maintain a difference between the SMG and AR class playstyles, because they're both different and they can be used in various ways and tactics. So that's something that I believe they have worked on to fix, to bring a more balanced playstyle from both weapons and classes. So that basically generalizes the update for all of the rifles in the game. But looking specifically at the weapons which are affected in the rifle section, we see that the FG42 has received a nerfed fire rate so that the damage output is more in line with other weapons in its class. Although I would like to mention that the FG42 is a slightly touchy subject, because since the beginning of World War II, since the beginning of this game coming out, for about the first month or so, the FG42 was absolutely unbeatable. This gun was a force to reckon with. All of the pro players were using it, and once they saw this, they put in numerous patch updates nerfing the FG42, and the community had a outbreak response, and so they finally gave it a buff, but immediately it's back at a nerf, and I might argue to say that the weapon is at the state that it used to be in, and maybe not the best rifle to use. When it comes to the MP40, I believe this has been a very balanced gun throughout the majority of this game. Regardless of the buffs or nerfs that have happened, I still believe this is a pretty solid gun. And with this update, actually, the MP40 has received a buffed recoil in an effort to have a more competitive SMG on par with the PPSH-41. So moving right along, we have the SVT-40, and they've actually done a pretty decent amount of updates to this with the new patch, and they buffed the recoil in an effort to make it more manageable to shoot downrange and give a better contrast to the M1 Garand. So they've really benchmarked the SVT-40 based on the M1 Garand, because actually both of the updates involve comparing itself to the M1 Garand. And they also nerfed the hip spread to match the M1 Garand, like I was saying, in an effort to decrease the ability to quickly kill opponents at closer ranges. So I actually had a pretty decent time testing out this gun, and it honestly was not the easiest thing to use, and I definitely can feel the effects from this patch and how they're trying to relate it with the M1 Garand. I completely see that, and I realize what they've done and what they're trying to do with the SVT-40. When it comes to the M1A1 in this patch update, they have buffed the fire rate in an effort to make it a more competitive choice amongst the other rifles, but it still is slightly slower than the UR43. Now, they've actually done some pretty interesting things in this update with the UR43. They've buffed the fire rate in an effort to make it a more competitive choice amongst other rifles, and it's still faster than the M1A1. They've buffed the recoil, so it's pretty similar to the M1A1, and they buffed the clip size to be 12 rounds per clip instead of 10, just so that saves you a little bit more of the reloading time and just helps you win more gunfights in general. So going on to the shotgun category, they have done a numerous amount of stuff with both of these shotguns really. I'll start off with the M30 Luftwaffe drilling. They've buffed the damage per pellet to be on par with the recent sawed-off shotgun changes, so that this shotgun now has a more automatic 2-shot kill and a slightly more forgiving 1-shot kill. I would have to agree with this because if the M30 is in the right hands, you can absolutely destroy with this gun. They have also buffed the shotgun damage range so that it's now more feasible to finish off an opponent who didn't die from a rifle bullet. And they've buffed the ADS spread to allow for greater accuracy when shooting enemies that are outside of the obvious shotgun range, of course while aiming down sight. For the toggle action, they have buffed the clip size to be 8 shots per clip instead of 6 in an effort to allow players to have more success with this weapon. I have to agree with this. I think that increasing the clip size is going to help make this gun a lot more usable. They have also nerfed the ADS spread to be on par with other shotguns, besides the M30, of course, but I think they've done a good job on the toggle action. Overall, guys, I think patch 1.1 is a great addition to Call of Duty World War II, and I think it's a improvement on previous patches, and I think they're going in a very positive direction for this game. Also to mention, guys, the Resistance event will launch on March 1st for Xbox One and PC, having already released on PS4, so if you're on PS4 you already know what's up. So with this new DLC that Call of Duty is introducing, they are introducing 3 new multiplayer maps: Valkyrie, Anthropoid, and Occupation. So Valkyrie takes place in and around the bunker where Resistance fighters unsuccessfully tried to assassinate Hitler, and I think that's a really great story behind a map. Anthropoid, meanwhile, is set in an occupied Prague and is set to feature a lot of height variation and narrow interiors. I feel like this is going to be an interesting map, and it's going to be interesting for players and pro players to see how they work around this. Lastly, guys, is Occupation, which is a remake of a Modern Warfare 3 map. Call of Duty World War II's Resistance DLC also adds a new war mode map called Operation Intercept. Guys, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for future videos, and make sure to turn notifications on so you always know when we upload. If you have any comments, thoughts, or questions, make sure to leave them down in the comment section and I will always get back to you. I love talking to you guys and discussing new things, maybe controversial things, maybe there's some opinions you guys don't agree with me, and I always encourage you guys to let me know down below. I really hope I could help you figure out what this new patch update is about, and about the new Resistance DLC and some of the features and changes it's bringing to Call of Duty World War II. I would like to mention that there are 2 ways to buy the new Resistance DLC. One is buying it separately, and the other is buying it through the Season Pass. Just prefers how much you want to spend, how much you play the game, and what you're looking to get out of it. However, I would personally recommend the Season Pass because it gives you every game mode available, every DLC, everything there is, and it's a one-time fee. You get it done, it's over with, and I think that's a beautiful feature that they allow. But of course, if you want, you can buy each DLC or just this DLC individually. It's personal preference, so it's up to you guys. But that is just a small tip from me. Generally, I think buying the season pass for games that offer services like this is a good idea, and it is a good way to go. Guys, this has been Instant Champs. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.